So every day, I'd get up, and I was in a different village in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, every few days, and I would get up and meet with 2, 3, 4 entrepreneurs every day. And the stories that I heard, first of all, they're just amazing stories of success. Almost all of them had done something really powerful and positive in their lives after they had had access to this $100. It was actually a grant, not even a loan. It was close enough, though, to microfinance for me to get started. So anyway, I heard these amazing stories of change, but even more important was the way that I started to see, poor people in Africa in a different way. And it's embarrassing. I think it's a little humbling and embarrassing to say, but I realized growing up, most of my exposure to, the idea of a poor woman in sub-Saharan Africa was one that focused on pain and suffering and weakness. And, images that I had seen of somebody who was in poverty were ones that I saw in a nonprofit brochure. The goal of that marketing material was to make me feel bad enough and guilty enough and panicked enough to pull out my wallet and give. Like that, it was a means to an end. And that was the way that a lot, at least in my experience, a lot of material, that was the method they were using to get me to take action. So suddenly, not suddenly, but over the years, I'm in East Africa, I'm hearing these stories of success and of empowerment and of dignity, and I'm not feeling bad, I'm feeling really impressed. And in fact, again, I knew nothing about business. I didn't even know the difference between profit and revenue, I'm not joking. And I'm learning about business from like goat herders and subsistence farmers and seamstresses for the first time in East Africa, and I'm seeing human beings who are very legitimately, perhaps uneducated but very, very smart, perhaps very poor but really hardworking, perhaps, they have needs, but again, very strong and very dignified. So it really changed the paradigm that I had, and I didn't even realize that it was so embedded in me, but that I had about viewing the poor, and even talking about a set of people like that, the poor. They became names and faces in my friends that I wanted to know in a very specific way, not just this group of people that I wanted to maybe help because I felt bad. So that was a huge change that started to take place for me.